Good morning. Mr. Robbins, you want to lead us in the pledge today? All right, Mr. Bramble.
We've got the minutes for July 9th for rezoning in the regular meeting.
Mr. Schweitzer, if I could, before we take a vote on that, before I make a motion to approve. Last week it was brought up that we just say a lot of yeses up here. I just want everybody to know that, for instance, the minutes and claims, we get those a day before, so we do look over all these things. I mean, we're talking about a lot of money here, and we do look at all these minutes and claims, and then some of the other ones down here. So just want to make a note of that for the record.
Okay.
I would move to approve minutes.
Second.
All in favor by aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Bramble.
Then we've got the July 3rd payroll for $1,346,848.17.
Questions or comments?
Move to accept claims, $1,346,848.17.
Second.
All in favor by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Those claims carry as well.
Then we've got the regular claim docket for July 6th through 12th for $845,226.98.
Any questions or comments about those claims?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor by aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Anything else, Mr. Bramble?
Nope.
Okay. Up next, we got 4 American Rescue Plan Act agreements for 4 separate fire departments, and I think, Terry, would it be best to do all 4 of these separately? Yeah, okay. So the first one, Sealyville Fire Department for $12,500. Second is Otter Creek Fire Department. Third is Riley Fire Department. The fourth one is the New Goshen Fire Department, all each for $12,500. So would entertain a motion to approve, or if you guys have any more comments or explanation of why we're doing this, you can do that as well.
Just that we will have 5 more volunteer fire departments that we, the council, approved this ARPA money. I'd make a motion to approve the ARPA agreement for Sealyville Fire Department for $12,500.
Second that.
All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, Sealyville carries.
Just heads up, we still got a couple more steps we'll have to go through before we could be writing them a check. We'd send it off to Baker Tilly. We need to know what they want to spend it on.
Yeah.
Send it off to Baker Tilly, and they assign it to one of the categories in the ARPA and write a justification for it. And then move on from there.
Okay.
Point taken, Mr. Auditor. As we move through all these, and we've structured these different agreements that we've taken it step by step because we perceive we'll be audited and have to explain our reasoning behind these things and our justification. We paid for people to help us manage through this and make the agreements. Thank you.
All right. We took a vote on that, didn't we? Yeah. Okay.
I'd make a
next
motion to accept a Otter Creek Fire Department agreement
Yes.
for $12,500.
Second.
All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Riley Fire Department. I know, moving on to Riley.
Okay. I'd make a motion to accept the agreement for the Riley Fire Department for the Recovery Act money.
Second.
All in favor by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Riley is good. And then New Goshen, finally.
I'll make a motion to accept the agreement with New Goshen Fire Department for $12,500.
Second?
All in favor by aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Glad those, so, and then we say we have at least 4 or 5 more, Mark, or 6 more?
Yes. 5.
All right, next on the agenda is 2 contracts for Kone decommissioning. Ricky, you can come up here if you want to. I don't know if we're gonna have any questions or not. As a part of the jail demolition process at 201 Cherry Street, Indiana Department of Homeland Security requires a decommissioning of the elevators because they're hydraulic. We have to have those elevators drained of all the hydraulic fluid and all those things. We have had those elevators not usable for pretty much a year now, almost, I would say.
Yeah.
So, this is a cost to Kone for the amount of, I can't remember, because I don't have that paper with me. No, there it is.
There's actually 2 separate proposals there, Chris.
Yep. Do you remember what the cost is, Ricky, on both of these?
On the first one, that includes draining the oil for all 4 units, is $11,162.48. The other proposal in the amount of $2,276.72. That is to bolt the elevator doors shut, disconnect the power, and then provide state inspection for completion of the decommissioning.
And this does not come from Ricky's budget. This comes from, or the building maintenance budget. It comes from the budget from the project to demo the jail.
That was
So
gonna be
the
my question.
Yeah,
Okay.
the funds are already in place. They were included in the budget. Working with Garwan Construction as a CM, they reached out to Kone. Kone's reached out to Ricky to get it scheduled, but we have to approve this contract beforehand. So if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I'm sure Ricky could too.
Sure.
Do these need to be done in 2 separate motions? 2 separate contracts, okay.
Okay.
I move to approve the first contract with Kone for $2,276.72.
Second.
One thing, if you guys, Mark, if you would add this to the motion.
Okay.
We gotta make one change on the contract. They got us working out of Rock Island, Illinois for their contract. Terry always catches that language. The purchaser does hereby agree the exclusive venue for any dispute between the parties shall be in the county of Rock Island, Illinois. They need to change that to Vigo County, Indiana.
Okay, do we need to make a different motion then?
I would rescind your motion.
I will rescind my first
Rescind my
motion.
Second.
Yep. And,
Hold it till next week.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion to accept the contract with Kone for $2,276.72 with the change of this work being done in Vigo County, Indiana.
Second.
all in favor by aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Second contract.
I'd make a motion to approve the second contract with Kone for, mine are both the same,
$11,162.48.
$11,162.48 with the change of the work being done in Vigo County as opposed to Rock Island.
Second that.
All in favor by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Ricky, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, legitimate use permit application commissioners. Okay, so this is up to the Board of Commissioners if we want to take action today or have a discussion about this. The city of Terre Haute has a huge project going on down behind the mill to upgrade their sewer utility system. They needed to get rid of the fill material or the material that is back there and move it elsewhere. Upon doing so, they had a conversation with Tim Drake and the owners of the mill, and Tim requested that he receive that fill to expand his venue. The Indiana Department of Environmental Management, since we own the property, is asking us to sign off on that because we know we would be accepting potentially contaminated soil for him to approve upon if he so chooses to expand his facility, which he has done so by about 10 or 15 feet so far. The dirt's already been moved there. So it's up to you guys if you guys want to have a conversation with the mill, or we can go, I mean, as long as he improves the property and puts a surface on top, he's good to go. So
I would personally like to look into this for another few days.
Okay. All right. Well, it's on the agenda, so we'll have a motion to table.
Motion to table.
Second?
All in favor, by aye?
Aye.
Aye. Table that to next week. Okay. Mr. Zoller, Wabash Valley Resources.
Yes, thank you again for your attention. I know we've been here a few weeks, so all the efforts and, let's say, attention you've spent. What I'm here to announce today is it's a big day out at the Wabash Valley Resources facility. We had a major announcement about a company that's going to come in and be our provider of a lot of the services that people are focused on. But back on the issue of our community benefits, I wanted to talk a little about how we're planning on moving forward. So again, I'll start with, let's say, almost an apology that if we put you in an awkward position of trying to play some role in designating where the funds that would go from our community foundation efforts. So again, kind of I understand that may be something out of your all's comfort level, even though I just saw you approve a bunch of ARPA grants, so maybe it's a little closer than I thought. But what we've got is we're going to be putting our funds into the Wabash Valley Community Foundation and having it segregated from the things that are, let's say, more public. So we will still be coming to you about road improvements, public safety, the fire departments, because we're going to be manufacturing anhydrous ammonia, so you all recognize that there are certain inherent risks of that. Every farmer can explain that. But we're going to focus on those things with you all because we'll need road access, road use agreements, working with the fire department and public safety. So we will still be coming to you on those things, which will be paid for by the company. So it's already in our budget. We're already planning on doing that. But then the other funds that we were here, I guess, the last few times talking about, we're going to just work with the Wabash Valley Community Foundation. One of the things that you may still want to participate in, but maybe not formally, is we want to designate what's called Justice 40. So in areas of the county that may have less population, but they're more impacted by previous environmental problems, they've got issues in terms of economic problems, so they may not be the most prepared to provide an application for grants. So one of the complaints that you always hear is that the money always go to the populated areas and not to the areas that you're targeting. So we will need some attention paid, like in the New Goshen area, particularly Fayette Township. If they don't apply for a grant, people might complain that we're not targeting the areas that we really need to target. So you may still participate, let's say, in another way to make sure that those areas that we're trying to help with our community foundation funds, but we'd like to have some support so that those people in that area can apply for grants and are awarded grants in the way we intend. I've seen too many times that the funds go to the populated areas because of their ability to ask for grants. They already have grant writers and people that focus on these things. So we really are going to stay, let's say, focused on the idea of making sure that the funds that we put into the community foundation go to the areas, or at least a good portion of it, go to the areas where we intend to have some impact on the local communities.
Brad Cheney.
That must be my time. Is that what I? Okay. I do have a letter from the Wabash Valley Community Foundation that I'd like to submit, and it explains a little about how we're going to bifurcate these funds. So it's already in our budget. We've already got an approved plan, but we're going to have it separated. So the nonprofit funds will all flow through the community foundation. The public funds that go to fire and safety as well as road improvements. Those will have to have your all's, at least the permits and the road use agreements. But those are all funds that we've already got budgeted, and we hope that they're seen as a contribution to the communities that we live in. So I'll submit that, and I might also ask if Beth Tevlin, who's the president of the Community Foundation, can come up for just a minute and explain their process and answer any questions about how these funds might go toward the areas that we're looking at.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning, Beth.
The Wabash Valley Community Foundation is a charitable organization that is designed to receive charitable gifts, invest them as permanent endowment, and distribute the earnings as income. We always work with each and every donor to identify what their charitable outcome is, because we want to accomplish what they want to accomplish instead of what we necessarily want to accomplish. In talking about these funds, obviously, there is a specific geographic area that these funds need to be used in. And we would create what we call a field of interest fund or a advised field of interest fund, where those monies would be used specifically for that area. Now, how would we identify the grants that come in? We get grants in a variety of different ways. If this is an advised fund in which the commissioners serve as the advisors, or they appoint someone to serve as the advisors, we would look at what those recommendations are. So it's open to whoever you would basically recommend. If it is based upon a proposal process, they could be submitted that way. Or what we have been doing in some of our rural counties in Clay and Sullivan County, because we also serve those areas, is we have formed smaller committees to help identify what is needed within that one geographic area. So, for example, there could be a group of individuals from St. Mary of the Woods, West Terre Haute, New Goshen, Universal, that come together to identify, here are our greatest charitable needs. And we have to make certain that they're charitable, because we're dependent upon the IRS for our ability to maintain our charitable status, so we must make certain of that. But we're more than willing to try to work with the individuals. We always offer about once every 2 years, we offer a grant writing workshop, but our grants are not complex. They start with really a one-page letter of intent if you're going to our regular process, and they're open for everyone to be able to apply for. We did go through, after the discussion started, to start looking at what nonprofits, what 501c3s are there, and what could we do to help. And there are significant nonprofits in that general area that we can help submit. We are also, and I wanted to share this, in Clay County particularly, we have been doing what we call community tours, where we are taking groups of volunteers from a variety of different communities, and it could be that we do something like that in this area, where they go and visit other communities within their area, and the local residents talk about why they're proud of their community. And we've done this for a few years, and we find out that that creates a synergy between all of the residents to look at what can we do. This group has done this. For example, Corey has created a new playground for their kids. Well, we also want that in Poland, so how can we do that? I think something like this in this area, and it's really trying to listen to who the residents are and being able to provide them the funding of what can benefit their community. They may say, hey, we don't have access or the ability of paying our memberships for the Y or whatever, and we'd like to do that for our kids or our families. We could work something out with them to do that. It'd be in Terre Haute, but it would be only for those residents. There's a lot of ways and a lot of flexibility, and typically I've always found that the only thing that's holding back a really great idea from being implemented is funding, and the Community Foundation tries to help put that in place.
Thank you, Beth. Any questions for Beth?
Well, I guess, so the foundation board, and then within that, there could be some smaller groups.
Well, we're interested in how we will create the donor advised fund. So we are the donors, but how we get information, the company is not going to make the decisions on where these funds ought to be placed for the best interest of the community. So whether you all play some advisory role, whether we do this through developing a group of community leaders, all that's, let's say, left to be decided, and we're certainly interested in your thoughts on it.
Greg, at what point do you think you'll be starting to have a conversation with the fire departments to
We've
discuss?
already had
Okay.
the first conversations. We'll have to have a safety plan in place, so it's, we're probably not going to be operational until 2027, so there's time to do that. We hope to have some action early next year, so you'll see in our announcement today with Baker Hughes, which is a big company for kind of our efforts here. You'll see that probably early in '25. So some of these things will start, but our actual 2027 is the target for when we'll be operational. But we will be back to you on both road improvements and public safety.
Mike, any questions? Commissioner Morris?
So you're ready to start with the revamp of the actual facility then?
Well, there's quite a bit of work to do in terms of ordering equipment. So the equipment itself takes some time. Once a contract is signed, it takes, let's say it takes some time to get the machinery manufactured and shipped here. So that's still while we're going to shoot for that 2027 date.
I guess I was just thinking when the people were going to start working on the facility. the
Well,
150.
there may be some, let's say preparation, but in terms of when people are actually going to be assembling all of the compressors and some of this major equipment, that'll probably take, let's say, it won't be early in 2025.
Okay. Well, that's soon. Okay,
But
thank
we'll
you.
keep you posted on kind of our progress.
So,
Thank
so what fire departments do you see that would be the initial responders that you would want to train and up with equipment?
Well, there's, we're reaching out to all of them to do kind of an assessment. We've already met with a number of them. I think in some respects, there's going to be some need from the Terre Haute Fire Department for major incidents. So that's, you've got to recognize who's already capable. But I think in terms of the training and the preparation for all this, we're going to be doing that as we speak. And I know they've already made, let's say, original contact and had meetings, but we're still in the early days. And again, we've got 2 years or more to have all this in place.
Any other questions there? Thanks, Greg. Appreciate
All
your
right.
time today.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll open it up from comments from the public. Any comments from the public?
Good morning. I'm Janet Strosiano. I'm here to say to the commissioners, will we be able to see the comments that the deadline ended yesterday that was given to you on health, safety, and monitoring equipment? Again, that is not addressed by Wabash Valley Resources in what they are discussing today. We are not hearing anything but money going to a foundation. And yes, they are saying JP 40 comes into play. Yes, it does, for federal funding. But also, the lack of communication with the community directly impacted by this project is so important, because we have given you, the commissioners, November of last year, a list of our concerns on health, safety, and monitoring equipment, and have heard nothing from Wabash Valley Resources or yourself about that list. But those are still going to be our concerns. Those are still going to be what we asked for, and we feel that answering their request to you signing off as community involvement by representing us on accepting this benefit package would be unfair and unjust. So we ask you to table this till there is more input from our community. Thank you.
We don't have anything up for a vote. I think Mr. Zoller just made it clear that they're just gonna work directly with the Community Foundation on exchanging funds, for the foundation. And then he also just said that if it comes to doing something to a road, he'll have to work with the engineer's office and the commissioner's office to upgrade the road. So we don't have anything to vote on. And then we will put the safety comments, or we will put those comments online, that's fine.
May I ask the question, then why were you given an agreement package to sign? That was the understanding when it was announced.
Maybe Mr. Zoller can help me here a little bit, but
Thank you.
this agreement is not I understand you folks want it to be kind of a safety agreement, but this is strictly a benefits package. What is Wabash Valley Resources doing for the community in a monetary fashion? Is that correct, Mr. Zoller?
It is, and again, that's why I started off with somewhat of an apology, because, you know, we originally were gonna have the commissioners as kind of the lead in terms of designating where these funds would be targeted. But I understand that that's really not what you all do day to day. It is what the Community Foundation does. So how we get input to the Community Foundation on where these funds are targeted, that will no longer be, I mean, that was our original request that we withdrawn. And again, if it put you all in an awkward position, it was unintentional. In terms of our, you know, we have a budget, and we've already had a community benefits plan that's already been approved. So it's not that these things are, and I think there's been some misunderstanding that this is somehow a requirement that you all sign something. That's really not true. So we've already had all of our plans and our budget approved. We've got a board that's working on all these things as we speak. So again, this is meant to be a nonprofit commitment that we make to the community, that over the years, hopefully there'll be signs that we really did intend to help these communities that we're going to live in. So again, if it's put you all in an awkward position that you felt like you were under pressure not to sign or to sign, that was unintentional.
Yeah, regarding all the comments, we all have those, and we will forward those to WVR, as well as we will probably find a way to get those online or on our website.
Yeah, absolutely. Work with Scott to get that done.
All right.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, any comments from commissioners or other elected officials or department heads? Mr. Thacker?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Wabash Valley Resources for coming here today. I think that we could do a whole lot more to educate the public, and I understand why people are upset from the community. They feel like they haven't got the answers, and then I think some of it, just like Mark did something so simple this morning, explained a little bit of what goes into this meeting beforehand. People don't see that, so they don't know. So they just assume that you haven't spent the time and effort. Being on the inside, you do see that, and you know what goes into it. So I think that's very good that you explained that. And I think Wabash Valley Resources could benefit themselves and the community by trying to meet with and having some better conversations. Instead of everybody in this environment that we're in right now, everybody right now, for maybe 30 seconds, is going to take pause and try to get along for a little bit after what just happened recently. It won't last long. But why it is, we should try to capitalize on it. And I think, I think some people from the concerned citizens thought that the council and thought that the commissioners did some things that wasn't right. And when it really, the truth of it is, that happened all at the state level, that we didn't have control over that. We voted on a tax abatement, or we worked with this. This is a great example I don't blame Wabash Valley Resources wanting to go with a community service plan to distribute this money, so it takes it out of suspicion, right? And so I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this benefit fund, but I think that they should engage the people in the community more so that people understand what the good that can come out of this, instead of just keeping them at arm's length. So I just wanted to say that, and thanks for, I too would like to see those comments that, I commented on it, but I don't really understand why, one, the council was never involved in this process, but we were on the ARPA fund, so I thought it should have been a lot like the ARPA. We should have been involved in this process of the community fund, just like I thought we should have on the casino. But, I mean, that's my position, being on council, and thinking that we're the fiduciary part of the county, so that's why I was disappointed to see that that was never mentioned. And then now it's going to be that the county's not going to be involved in the decision-making anyhow, so. But thank everybody for your time.
Yeah, Mr. Loudermilk.
Norman Loudermilk, Executive Director of Juvenile Center. So some people may not know we're going to be adding on to the Juvenile Center to the west toward the end of July. Bids will be open sometime in August. The commissioners will award them. About a third of that parking lot is going to be used for construction. We had that south end restriped, and some of the areas that used to park in can no longer be parked in. And so I've been requested by some people, especially the assessor's office, to see if we might be able to get stenciled on the curb on the east side, on that south end there, no parking. Because even though we didn't stripe it, people are still parking there. And it's going to present a problem. It has already. There have been some near misses and a couple of small side swipes. So, I know I talked to Commissioner Flinkenbeard about this just before, but if we can get that, and I talked to the vendor on Friday, and he said he's willing to come back and just put some stencils on that curb that say no parking. So that would be nice to have that done just on that north end, or I'm sorry, on that south end east of the handicap area, so that people know that they can't park there. And then when the construction's over with, if someone tries to park there and goes to juvenile court, which Tuesday is a mess over there, at least they won't get their car hit.
Yeah.
Just a quick note, the parking lot is done and we'll take care of that, but that was paid for by ARPA funds. And it looks a lot better and will help preserve the parking lot. Also, another ARPA project that just got started was the dome. They power washed it and expect to start painting that this week.
Half of it's primed, great. And then also, we worked with the council on an ARPA project for Rose Holman, and we approved the rezoning for Rose Holman last week, and that construction is going to start later this year as well, so it's good to know. And then for you county department heads, your budget session starts here in about now, so good luck to you.
Yeah. Going through the budget for several years as a council person,
It's fun.
you find out how much the elevators cost at any facility, actually, not just the old jail. And certainly was one of the considerations when we built a new jail, not to have elevators in there, or not to have a second story. So, yeah.
Anything else? All right. See you next Tuesday. We'll stay in a recess.